The NFL's MVP award is awarded to the league's most valuable player at the end of each regular season. Or is it? Well, we're not here to bash the award or anything like that, but it's no secret that the award has become extremely biased towards quarterbacks and is almost a popularity contest at this point. 50 people come together at the end of the year and vote who they think should be MVP. But are they really voting for the most valuable player, or are they voting for the best overall player that season? Although you may not realize it, there is a big difference. But that's besides the point. I'm going to be honest with you. In 2020, the MVP award will most likely be awarded to a quarterback, as QBs have won the accolade 17 times in the past 20 seasons. The only times a defensive player has won the award were in 1971 to Alan Page and in 1986 to Lawrence Taylor. Guys like Khalil Mack, J.J. Watt, and Aaron Donald have posted up MVP caliber seasons, but have obviously not actually received the award. This to me shows that if you're going to bet on a non-QB to win the award, it almost has to be an offensive player. More specifically, a running back, because a couple really good ones have actually won in recent years. Adrian Peterson, Marshall Faulk, Sean Alexander, and LaDainian Tomlinson are those really good running backs. So yeah, the bottom line is if we're picking 5 non-QBs to win the award, that might just have to be 5 running backs. So here we go. The first and most obvious person that has to be included on this list has to be the best running back in the NFL. Christian McCaffrey was straight up the Panthers' entire team last season. He finished with 1,387 rushing yards, which was third in the NFL. Both players higher than him had more carries. 1,005 receiving yards, and 19 combined touchdowns. And let's not forget about his 2018 season, which was also a very impressive year for the Stanford grad. And we can't forget that he did all of this on a team with very few other offensive weapons. So teams were specifically game planning to stop him, and they flat out couldn't. McCaffrey is the league's best running back and best receiving back, so betting on him for the MVP wouldn't be a bad idea. If the Panthers do well at all, it will be because McCaffrey is going off. The only thing that could stop this guy from winning MVP is the fact that, whether it is right or not, the award will go to one of the best teams in the NFL's player, or at least a team that is in the playoffs. The Panthers will not be either of those things.
Next, we have Saquon Barkley. As stated before, in history, besides quarterbacks, running backs has had the most MVPs in NFL's history. Why Saquon Barkley out of all the running backs, though? Well, we already have a few other running backs on this list, and Saquon has proved to be one of the best running backs in this league. I think Saquon is here accompanied by these players because Saquon is arguably the most athletic and physical running back in this league. However, a downside to Saquon is his health. Will he be able to last the whole season in order to have a chance at winning this award? The reason why I like Saquon Barkley to win MVP is because he's on, well, I don't want to say one of the worst teams in the NFL, but definitely a bottom tier team as of now. Now let's just say hypothetically the Giants go 10-6 and lose in the divisional round of the playoffs. This is the bare minimum that needs to happen if Saquon has a shot at this award. Obviously, the team has to be somewhat good if the MVP is on that team. This is why I think if the Giants go 10-6, there are no other weapons on that Giants offense, so it would have to be Saquon Barkley carrying them to that record. Now, it would be hard at that point to win because the stats need to be there too. You most likely would have to put up 15-plus touchdowns, lead the league in rushing, and lead all running backs in receiving as well. This is the kind of season the Giants need anyways if they want any shot at the playoffs. It's highly improbable, but we've seen crazier things happen in this league.
That takes us to our next player on the list, which is Dalvin Cook. Cook had a monster season last year, rebounding from 2017 and 2018, where he was sidelined for a big portion of the year due to injuries. The recipe for MVP is there for Cook, a really good running back who will post up crazy numbers for this upcoming season on a team that could very well win their division and make the playoffs, while at the same time having a good quarterback to help them win games, yet not necessarily being overshadowed by Kirk Cousins. In other words, if the Vikings have a great season, yes, it is probably due to the performance of both Cousins and Cook, but I just don't see Cousins winning MVP, to be honest with you. My biggest concern for Cook winning MVP is his health concerns. He needs to play 15 or 16 games if he's going to put up MVP-type numbers, which is something that he has never been able to do while being in the NFL. That is why the next player that I have potentially winning the MVP is Ezekiel Elliott. If you look at some of the previous running back winners of the award, you can see that 1,800 plus yards, and depending on how good the competition for the award around the league is, 20 plus touchdowns will probably do the trick. Zeke has played in at least 15 games in 3 out of his 4 seasons, which is obviously key. His numbers during each of those seasons are outstanding, yet it was actually his rookie year that was his best. 1,631 rushing yards and combined 16 touchdowns. Zeke finished 4th in MVP voting that year with 9 votes. This shows me that it is possible for this kid to win the award. Not much has changed from that season to this point for Zeke. He still has one of the best offensive lines in the league. Dak has improved, and the Cowboys' defense is solid enough that they won't have to ditch the running game too often in order to make a quick comeback. Elliott's goal line work has also increased last season, which is obviously a great sign because the more that goes up, the more likely he is to get to that 20-plus touchdown mark. The Cowboys are capable of winning a lot of games this year, and Ezekiel Elliott, in my opinion, is the most capable non-QB to win the 2020 regular season MVP.
I know we didn't say any defensive players would make this list, but if there is going to be one defensive player, in my eyes, it's definitely Aaron Donald. When talking about a defensive player winning MVP, we are talking about a very rare occasion that actually only happened twice in the NFL history. Like stated before, it was 1971, Alan Page, defensive tackle for the Minnesota Vikings, who is now in the Hall of Fame. And then the most recent time, it was Lawrence Taylor in 1986. He was of course, a linebacker for the New York Giants, who is also a Hall of Famer. That 1986 season, Lawrence Taylor had 20 and a half sacks, which is great, but it wasn't even an NFL record at the time. Meanwhile, on the offense side of the ball, Dan Marino led the league with over 4,700 yards and 44 touchdowns. So why didn't he win MVP? Well, for one, he had 23 interceptions, which is never a good thing. And second, Dan Marino and the Dolphins went 8-8 that year, while the Giants went 14-2 and went on to win the Super Bowl. History has proven that the teams have got to be good in order for that player to win MVP. So if I had to pick one defensive player to win MVP this year, it is easily between Aaron Donald and Khalil Mack. But I would have to give the edge to Aaron Donald for a couple reasons. In my opinion, Donald has a better chance to get a higher amount of sacks than Mack, and the team also has to be good. I'm not saying the Rams are going to be good this year or even make the playoffs if that. I think they for sure have more upside than the Bears, however. A lot has to go well for this to happen, and it's hard to see Donald ever winning over a guy like Mahomes, Lamar, or Russell Wilson, but he definitely has the best shot on the defensive end. Thanks for watching, guys. Let us know what you think in the comments. Be sure to stay updated with our profile and subscribe.
One day you'll leave this world behind, so live a